At midnight, the wall spoke my name. Some voices come from people, others come from places that should never speak. It was a quiet night, the kind where you can hear your own heartbeat. The old house was still, wrapped in the kind of silence that feels heavy, almost watchful. But then, a whisper, faint, like the rustle of dry leaves, skittering across pavement. It came from the wall right beside my bed, and it said my name. It wasn't a dream. I was wide awake, staring into the darkness of my room. The whisper came again, a little clearer this time. A chill, unlike any cold I'd ever felt, crept up my spine. My mind raced, trying to find a logical explanation. Was the wind? The pipes settling? Was I just overtired, my brain playing tricks on me? But the sound was so distinct, so personal. It was a voice, and it knew me. I held my breath, listening, waiting. The house remained silent, but the air felt charged, electric, with an unspoken presence. The peace of the night was shattered, replaced by a single, terrifying question. Who was calling my name from inside the wall? I pressed my ear against the cool, rough plaster. My heart was a drum against my ribs. The voice was clearer now. It wasn't an echo from another room. It wasn't my imagination running wild in the dead of night. This was real. The texture of the wall seemed to vibrate faintly under my touch, as if the words were being formed from the very plaster and wood that separated me from whatever was inside. It was a low, patient whisper, the kind of voice that holds ancient secrets. It wasn't shouting, it wasn't threatening. Not yet, it was just waiting. It felt like a predator, perfectly still, watching its prey. And in that moment, I was the prey. The voice repeated my name, slower this time, drawing out the syllables as if savoring them. A profound sense of dread washed over me. This wasn't just a sound. It was an intelligence, an awareness. Something was in my house, in my walls, and it was waiting for me. I pulled away, my hand trembling. The silence that followed was somehow more terrifying than the whisper itself. The next morning, the sun streamed in, chasing away the shadows, but not the memory. At the breakfast table, I tried to sound casual. Did anyone hear anything strange last night? Like a voice. My family looked at me, a mix of confusion and amusement on their faces. My mom suggested it was probably the old house groaning. My dad joked about ghosts. My sister just rolled her eyes and went back to her phone. No one heard it. No one believed me. They told me I was stressed, that I needed more sleep. I wanted to believe them, I really did, but every night it came back. The whisper from the wall grew louder, more insistent. It started telling me things, small things at first, forgotten memories from my childhood. Then it began to whisper my secrets, the ones I'd never told a soul. It knew my deepest anxieties, my most private fears. The wall became my confessor, my tormentor. I was living in a state of constant, quiet terror, completely alone with a voice that knew me better than I knew myself. The isolation was crushing. How do you explain that your walls are talking to you? I started to doubt my own sanity. Was I losing my mind? Was this all some elaborate hallucination? The lack of sleep wasn't helping. The house, once my sanctuary, had become a prison. The whispers were no longer just at night. I'd hear my name called softly while I was doing dishes, or a faint, mocking laugh while I was trying to read. I became obsessed. I spent hours online, searching for stories of haunted houses, poltergeists, auditory pareidolia that could explain what was happening, but nothing fit. This wasn't a ghost story from a book. This was my life. The voice was patient, relentless. It was stripping away my sense of reality, one whispered secret at a time. I felt myself spiraling, trapped in a nightmare that I couldn't wake up from. One night, I couldn't take it anymore. The voice was whispering about a failure I'd never admitted to anyone, mocking my weakness. Fueled by a desperate mix of fear and anger, I sat up in bed and shouted at the blank wall, my voice cracking. "Who are you? What do you want from me?" The silence that followed was absolute, stretching for what felt like an eternity. I thought maybe I had finally scared it away, or maybe I had truly lost my mind. Then the reply came. Not a whisper this time, but a clear, calm voice that seemed to resonate inside my own head. "I am the part of you that you buried. The anger you swallowed, the fear you ignored." My heart hammered against my ribs so hard I thought it would break. It wasn't a ghost. It wasn't a spirit trapped in the walls. It was me, or a part of me. The wall kept speaking, its voice calm and conversational, recounting every dark thought I'd ever had, every selfish impulse I'd ever suppressed. It was my own personal darkness, given a voice, and it was enjoying its freedom. I had to know. I had to see. The next day, when the house was empty, I went to the garage and found a sledgehammer. My hands were shaking, but my mind was terrifyingly clear. I stood in front of the wall, the source of my torment, and I swung. The plaster exploded, dust filling the air. I swung again and again, tearing a gaping hole in the wall, revealing the wooden studs and insulation behind it. I ripped away the soft pink fibers, clawing at the space within, expecting to find something. A hidden room, an old relic, anything. There was nothing, just the dark, empty space between the studs. Nothing. But as I stood there, panting, Surrounded by the debris of my own wall, the voice was still there. It wasn't coming from the hole. It was all around me, inside me. It whispered, its tone laced with amusement. You cannot destroy me. I had torn a hole in my house, but the source of the voice wasn't physical. It was a part of my own mind, unleashed. At midnight, the wall speaks my name. Or maybe it's just the silence that speaks. The hole is still there, a dark mouth in the middle of my bedroom, a monument to my desperation. Maybe what I heard was real. Maybe it was just a breakdown, my own mind fracturing under pressure. But I've learned that some voices, once you hear them, can never be unheard. They come from places that should never speak, from the walls we build around ourselves and the darkness we try to bury within. And sometimes, breaking down the wall doesn't get rid of the monster. It just lets it out. If you enjoy mysteries that blur the line between the real and the imaginary, make sure you subscribe to the channel, because some stories never really end.